He could have walked away years ago, comfortably, quietly, and with more accolades than most artists could ever dream of. But even now, just months after turning 82, Paul McCartney is doing something remarkable. He's not slowing down. Instead, he's surprising the world by preparing to release a brand new album, and he's heading back on tour. Not because he has to, but because, deep down, music is still the place where he feels most alive. It started with whispers, studio sessions at Abbey Road, a glimpse of Paul entering a familiar London recording space, longtime producers sharing, hints on social media. Fans noticed. The media speculated. But it wasn't hype or headlines that revealed the truth. It was the music. Quietly, steadily, Paul McCartney was doing what he's always done best, creating, not chasing trends, not reliving his past, simply writing songs that speak straight from the heart. For Paul, everything always begins with melody, a stray chord on the piano, a tune he hums while walking the dog. He said before that songs come to him in dreams, and sometimes Lennon visits too. Whether you believe in ghosts or memory or just the mind's quiet magic, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that Paul is still writing, still chasing those melodies, still listening to whatever the universe is offering him. This new album, from what little has been revealed, is full of warmth and reflection, but it's not a goodbye. It's not somber or heavy. In fact, many say it's full of hope. It looks back, yes, but more than anything, it looks inward. It carries the weight of a man who's lived through love, loss, fame, silence, and stage lights, and who can somehow turn all of that into a few chords and a lyric hummed by strangers across the world. And alongside that album comes the announcement of another tour. Maybe his last, maybe not, but significant all the same. Cities have been carefully chosen, not just for their arenas, but for their emotional connections. Liverpool, of course, London, New York, Tokyo, São Paulo, places that have echoed, with fans singing back harmonies decades after they first heard them. This isn't just a show, it's a celebration of a lifetime told through song. Paul doesn't tour to prove anything, not anymore. He does it because when he's up on that stage, when he sees generations of fans looking back at him with joy, something inside him lights up. He doesn't see the years between them. He just sees people moved by the music, each lyric becoming part of someone else's life story. And for someone like Paul, that's everything. Those who've seen him work say nothing about this new album was rushed. It came together slowly, piece by piece, like someone gathering memories in a bottle, knowing it could be the last one they send out to sea. There are stories behind the songs. Tracks where he imagines conversations with George Harrison, others inspired by old letters or melodies that sat unfinished since the 70s. But instead of sounding dated, they sound timeless because the emotion behind them still matters, and through all of it, Paul has remained the same. Humble, playful, deeply human. Even now, people close to him say he gets nervous before shows. He still rehearses endlessly, still double-checks every note. Because while he may be a living legend, he's never stopped being a musician first. He said before, "I'm not trying to be a Beatle. I'm just trying to write a good song." And that's what this moment is really about. Not fame. Not nostalgia. Not one last curtain call. It's about a man who has spent more than 6 decades giving his heart to the world in the form of sound, and somehow, even after everything, he's still not finished. Paul McCartney could have chosen to fade quietly into history. Instead, he's choosing to sing louder than ever. Because sometimes, music doesn't just preserve a legacy, it is the legacy. The announcement of the album and tour sent a quiet wave through the world. Not a shock, not a headline screamed in all caps, but a feeling like something beautiful returning. Fans, young and old, began sharing their memories. Videos of grandfathers crying at Beatles concerts. Messages from teenagers learning Let It Be on guitar for the first time, cross social media and news outlets. There was one shared emotion: gratitude. Because we all know, even if we don't say it out loud, there won't be another Paul McCartney. Not another voice with that kind of depth. Not another life so intertwined with the very roots of modern music. For many, the Beatles weren't just a band. They were a form of comfort, of rebellion, of truth. And Paul, in his unshakable calmness and permanent spark of joy, became the beating heart of it all. As news of the upcoming tour grew, tickets began flying, not out of hype, but out of love. This time, it was personal. People brought their children, booked flights, made it a mission to see him live, maybe for the last time. Because deep in their hearts, they realized this could be goodbye. And yet, Paul doesn't treat it like a farewell in rehearsals. He's smiling, laughing, still guiding bandmates like a young man with endless energy. There's no trace of the word final, only the familiar rhythm of someone doing what he was born to do. Stagehands have said he works harder than anyone else, hours early, never mailing it in. Every lyric, every harmony, still treated with the same respect he gave it the day it was written. But in the quieter moments, like when he's seated at the piano, between sets, there's a softness, too, a kind of peace. He knows what this means to people, and maybe he knows what it means to him, too. There's no rush to hold on, just the desire to share a little longer what he still believes in: love, music, and connection. The new songs in the album reflect that. Titles aren't fully public yet, but insiders say there's one track that made the studio fall silent when he first played it. It's said to be a message not to any one person, but to everyone. It's about leaving something behind. Not possessions, not fame, but feeling. A promise that even when he's gone, his music will still be here, whispering inside headphones, lining the backdrop of early mornings, road trips, and quiet nights across generations. One of the most emotional moments, fans say, they're anticipating is when Paul returns to Liverpool for the tour. The place where it all began. The same streets where four boys with guitars dreamed loud enough to change the world. There's talk of a special tribute to John and George in the setlist, not for show, but out of love. A missing piece of the music coming full circle, because, in so many ways, this isn't just Paul's tour, it's all of ours. It's the soundtrack of our youth, our first loves, our heartbreaks. It's a walk through decades of sound that shaped families, friendships, even countries. Paul McCartney is more than a musician to most people. He's a thread in the fabric of their lives. And now, he's laying down one last thread himself. Not with a scream, but with a sigh. Not because he's tired, but because the moment feels right. It's hard to imagine a world where Paul no longer takes the stage, where his voice no longer echoes through cities, where those brilliant bass lines no longer thrum through speakers in dark arenas. But maybe that's the gift he's giving us now. One more chance to listen, properly, fully, like it's the last time. Because even if it is, the music doesn't end. It keeps playing in old records, in quiet humming cooking in the kitchen, in vinyl collections and Spotify playlists, in hearts, in memories. Paul McCartney never needed to prove anything. Not after the Beatles, not after Wings, not even after his countless solo records and sold-out tours. But this album and this tour aren't about proving. They're about feeling, about choosing music again, not for the industry, but for the soul. He once wrote, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. And maybe now, nearing the final lines of his musical story, he's collecting that love, standing in the glow of thousands of fans who whisper in every lyric they sing back to him, "Thank you." He won't say this is goodbye, but if it is, would be perfect, No flash, no fuss, just music. Like always,